Ever since the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens, writer and director J.J. Abrams introduced both characters Rey and Kylo Ren. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, with J.J. Abrams back as both a writer and a director for Star Wars Episode 9, we do know that he will be taking both Kylo Ren and Rey in totally new and different directions for the overall plot of this movie, and that a lot of surprises are coming our way for both of these two characters. Now, we heard a couple of months ago that Reylo will be a component to a certain extent in Star Wars Episode 9. A lot of people aren't too crazy about that. Meanwhile, there's a large portion of people as well that actually really do embrace the concept of Reylo. So I don't know how you guys feel about the concept of these two characters essentially being the quote-unquote couple of the sequel trilogy. I know that in The Force Awakens, it kind of seemed like that they were trying to set this up with both Finn and Rey until she kissed him on the forehead at the end of the film and said, "Thank you, my friend." Then in The Last Jedi, we had Rose Tico give that kiss to Finn, which I thought was a little awkward, to be honest. But it seems like they're trying to set those two characters up as, you know, the couple of, I guess, The Last Jedi in that own realm there. But looking at Star Wars Episode 9 as a whole here, you know, these past couple of weeks we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set designs, the set leaks, the concept art, and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which specifically has all to do with both Kylo Ren and Rey that point to a Reylo moment that could also connect to what Daisy Ridley was crying about in the original script of Star Wars Episode 9 by Colin Trevorrow. Specifically, a description of both Rey and Kylo Ren inside of a base, from what it seems, holding and hugging each other while they are kneeling on the ground. Rey appears to be crying with her eyes squinting. Ren's head is on Rey's shoulder. In the background, some ships are leaving into the sky, with some pilots running toward their starfighters. This could be a sense of danger for our characters, including Kylo Ren and Rey, and the moment in which Ben turns to the light. Kylo's black clothing is ripped and has some scrapes on his arm and shoulder. This could be after the Lightsaber Duel. So I wanted to really go over a couple of points here that really do raise my interest a whole lot more for Episode 9. Now, we do know that there's going to be a lightsaber duel in this movie. Both Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver, you know, they're going to be working very hard this month of November on that scene, on and off over at Pinewood and Cardington. It's going to be one of the bigger lightsaber duels in the sequel trilogy. You know, of course, given the fact that in The Last Jedi we didn't even get one at all. Now, in The Force Awakens, I actually liked the duel between both Rey and Kylo. I just felt that it was way too short for what it was. So going into Episode 9, you know, the big talk right now is that it's gonna be on a level of an Anakin and Obi-Wan type of lightsaber duel when it comes to that level of epicness, right? How all the music will be tied with it, all the cinematography and the CGI and all the different practical effects that will be used. It's said that this scene is going to be very involved, but looking past this Reylo moment of two characters hugging it out, holding each other, with Ren actually having all ripped clothing and scrapes all over his body, and Rey, you know, from what it seems, crying by squinting her eyes with Ren. And in the background, from what the description goes over, you do hear about these pilots running away from something, heading for their starfighters, and a lot of ships taking off away from this base into the sky and leaving the atmosphere of this planet, or if it's even a planet. But looking at everything here, guys, I gotta say it kind of seems like, and this is just my point of view, it kind of seems like it's kind of a parallel to that of the ending of Return of the Jedi. I'm sure you remember this. The very end, everybody's running off of the Death Star 2. Everyone's kind of pretty much just evacuating as fast as possible. And then you have this central story between father and son, Luke and Vader. Essentially, you know, you have both Luke and Vader in the middle of this chaos that's happening on board of the Death Star 2, and you have a moment between the two. And of course, it's very emotional, it's very sad. You know, this is the moment in which Darth Vader turns to the light and becomes Anakin Skywalker once again. Luke finally gets to see his own father's face, and that's where things end. Luke makes it out alive and leaves the Death Star. So, it seems like that this is going to be JJ's spin on it, if this actually does end up being in the finalized version of the movie and actually comes into fruition, where maybe perhaps our two characters die at the same time. Maybe it's going to be kind of like a Cassian Andor and Jyn Erso moment in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. You know what, I just thought about this. Didn't they hug it out in Rogue One? Is this somewhat of a parallel to that of Rogue One, a Star Wars story? It could be. Maybe JJ was inspired by that type of cinematography where two characters are hugging and in the background there's just chaos happening, showing us the incoming fate of our characters. It could be something like that. Then, you know, the characters that live on could very well just be Finn, Poe, a potential child of Rey, and of course, you know, Leia, Lando, Chewbacca, and the droids. It could be something like that. I know that a lot of fans have been hearing a lot of different things about this movie, but one thing that we do know is that J.J. Abrams is actually going to be making an ending that'll be completely unpredictable to a lot of fans around the world. And this is really raising a lot of questions. If it's so unpredictable, exactly what is going to happen at the very end of the Skywalker saga? You know, I think that's one of the most things that, I think it's one of the most interesting things about the sequel trilogy is exactly what is Kylo Ren's endgame, where is he going, and exactly how will they leave off with the character in Episode 9. Will he turn to the light? Will he turn to the dark? You know, even deeper? Or is he just going to do something and sacrifice himself and that's that? I don't know. It's very hard to tell, but this is most definitely a Reylo moment from what it seems, and I would really love to hear all of your different opinions below in the comments section. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to